Today is the first Moral Monday on Capitol Hill. Moral Mondays are an initiative started originally down in North Carolina by the Reverend Dr. William Barber, who I first got to know working with Franciscan Action Network when we organized the Catholic group of sisters and priests for the Poor People's Campaign. That was the first project I had, and it was pretty meaningful to help set up an opportunity for Catholics to join with thousands of other people of all kinds of backgrounds to unite on behalf of focusing on the 140 million people in this country who are low income, who are low wealth, who are poor. That was a prayer service. At that prayer service, I was not in front of this church. We were in front of St. Patrick's Church here in DC, and then we marched to the other side of the Capitol. I'm here today on Capitol Hill. I just came out of the Hart Senate office building, and behind me is St. Joseph's on Capitol Hill. Now, technically, I was a teacher in their parochial school, but in a complicated way. I was actually a teacher, only a principal of St. Francis International School, but I was a teacher on the other side, on the house side of Capitol Hill at St. Peter's Interparish School, which served both of the parishes on Capitol Hill. And I taught social studies and religion, including to a senator's son who I just visited their office now to deliver a report. And I'm here today because Repairers of the Breach, the group that is behind Moral Mondays, is here in Washington to deliver a message about the way that we think about budgets, the way that we think about policies, that the line items on budgets are not just numbers that we can make efficient. They represent people, real human beings. And so we're here to try and say, okay, well, if this number is really enacted in the budget, say maybe a number about Medicaid or a number about free or reduced price meals, if this number is really made law, this is the number of people it's going to affect, and this is how it's going to affect them. And how do you explain as an elected official to the people in your district and the people across America the morality of the decision behind this number? Nothing is just a number. We've already seen federal employees treated as numbers, and now we're here today, saying let's talk about Medicaid, let's talk about SNAP, let's talk about anything. The former USAID funding that was delivering, much needed PEPFAR medications to people who will otherwise die from AIDS, more than likely. Was paying for Plumpy Nut to be delivered to war-torn and famine-stricken nations to make sure that children are saved from malnutrition. You don't send Plumpy Nut in for an average breakfast. It's a medical grade anti malnutrition supplement, and they're sitting in warehouses because of efficiencies on USAID budgets. So we're here today. We personally, a group of us, we prayed in front of the Supreme Court, and then we went out, and reports were delivered to every senator, every House member's office. I personally got to speak with Representative Evans of Philadelphia, who was very supportive of what we're here talking about today. But unfortunately, there was something very sad that happened along with this. On Ash Wednesday, I had come here also to pray in front of the Supreme Court. And they had there were reports that we brought that Repairers of the Breach published then, and those were delivered only to the leaders of the two parties in both houses. This time we deemed that the moral stakes were much higher, and the level of moral crisis needed something a little bit more. But I was not part of the groups that delivered those reports last time. I was part of a group that we were sent to go into the Capitol building and represent different denominations and faiths, and to simply go in and bow our heads inside the Capitol building. This was Ash Wednesday, like I said, so many of us had ashes on our foreheads. And we got into the Capitol. We were waiting in line. We had our stickers on. We were ready to go in. And then someone started asking questions like, well, what are you going to pray about? And the Capitol Police ejected us on Ash Wednesday. Me with my rosaries in my hands, ministers with their souls on, rabbis with yarmulkes. They said, no, we don't trust you. You're going to make a scene. And I said, how can you predict that and prevent us from praying silently? We know we're not, and they just wouldn't let us. Well, today, Reverend Dr. Barber and a group of 14 other clergy members they would only allow 15 in, went into the Capitol to pray for each and every one of these members of Congress who are receiving these reports, of which I was delivering some, praying for us to deliver them, and praying most importantly for the people of America who are affected by the decisions made here. And Bishop Barber was standing in the rotunda, and other clergy members were there, and Bishop Barber bowed his head, and the police came out. Capitol Police arrested him. It's very chilling to know that a person that I had just prayed with right here on Capitol Hill, a place where I taught the children of the people that work on Capitol Hill how to pray. I prepared kids for confirmation. Was arrested for bowing his head in prayer. And the reason he was bowing his head in prayer was because we were asking our Congress people to think about the moral implications of the budget numbers on their spreadsheets. Is that really somehow dangerous and worthy of violating someone's freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom? I don't know. He wasn't going to speak, so I suppose it wasn't freedom of speech, but it's disturbing. And having taught social studies and religion right here in the parish that I'm sitting in, I'm very concerned that even here, it's not safe to be a person of conscience. It's not safe to be a person of faith unless your faith meets some sort of litmus test, apparently. And not like we were given, I don't know how we would have. Anyway, it's just disturbing, and I'm tired and lost and frustrated. And if you're not, I'm not sure what's going to change people's hearts and make them aware. We have fathers from this area, right? Fathers that could have easily been a father at St. Francis International School. We've seen them taken on suspicions to a gulag in El Salvador. That's right here in my neighborhood. I drove through Greenbelt, where Kilmar Abrego Garcia is from, every day as I drove to my school with my own kids in the car. Am I going to be disappeared because I prayed and asked people to think about their consciences here on Capitol Hill, where at one point that was my job? I don't know, everybody, but I'm just happy I'm not in jail right now, but sad that poor Dr. Barber is had to deal with that here in this country, our America.